Axolotls are one of the cutest mobs in Minecraft, but they're also quite useful. From helping you raid ocean monuments to healing you with regeneration, learn everything you need to know about axolotls in Minecraft with this mob guide. So where do you actually find axolotls in Minecraft? Well, they spawn in one place, in the lush cave biomes in water next to clay. Now thankfully this is a very common place to find. Lush caves are actually rather common in the Minecraft world, maybe about a quarter of underground caves are lush caves, something like that. And of course the lush caves themselves have a lot of clay in them. Now you can see here we found a brown axolotl, but there's certainly much more than one color. In fact there's 5 different colors of axolotls. We have the leucistic axolotl, the wild axolotl, the gold axolotl, the cyan axolotl, and the blue axolotl. And in terms of colors, they're sort of pink, brown, yellow, whitish blue, and sort of purplish blue. Now all of these 4 types of axolotls spawn naturally. However, this blue type is only obtained when you breed axolotls a lot of times, and there is a 1 in 1,200 chance to get this rare blue axolotl when breeding them. But if you want to get them, you can breed them quite a bit to get that. You may be wondering, well, how do I actually breed axolotls? They have quite a unique breeding food, which is the bucket of tropical fish. Now tropical fishes do spawn in the lush cave biome, so you can find these right in their natural habitat. Simply pick up the tropical fish in a bucket, right click on one axolotl with it just to remove the fish from the bucket, right click on the other one like this, of course you can reuse the buckets, and then the axolotls will breed, giving you a baby axolotl. And you can see there's one right here. Now generally they are just the color of one of the parents, so for instance with 2 of the wild parents we should generally have a wild axolotl as the baby. So it's basically a 50-50 chance of it being one parent's color or the other, and then a 1 in 1,200 chance of it mutating to it being the kind of purplish blue axolotl like the one right over here. The reason why they have this mechanic in the game is sort of like an Easter egg to what axolotls are like in real life. So in real life, axolotls are really naturally only found in 1 or 2 little lakes in this place in Mexico, and because of that, most of them are just ones that have been taken out of that lake and bred in captivity and are pets. And so because of that, only 1 in 1,200 axolotls that actually exist are ones that exist in the wild. So it's sort of an Easter egg. And it's interesting to remember that if you're trying to breed these to get one of these, that the chance of stumbling upon a wild axolotl in real life out of picking a random selection of one would be about the same of breeding them to get yourself this really cool looking bluish, purple, and orange variety. Now when you have your very adorable baby axolotl, how do you make it grow up faster? It generally grows up in 20 minutes, which is of course the standard amount of time that it takes a mob to grow up in, but you can reduce that time by 10% if you feed it a tropical fish. Axolotls do have a breeding timer. It is 1 minute in Bedrock Edition, so they can breed every 1 minute in Bedrock, but it is 5 minutes in Java Edition, so not the standard 10 minutes of most mobs, but it still is a 5-minute timer, meaning if you want to get yourself a very large amount of axolotls, it'll take a bit longer in Java. That also makes it roughly 5 times more difficult to get the rare blue axolotl in Java Edition. If you happen to find a cute axolotl in the middle of a lush cave that you want to keep as your own, you can simply right click on them with a bucket full of water like this to pick up a bucket of axolotl. This does save what color they are, although it does not show it on the bucket. However, what's interesting to note is that if you never do pick up an axolotl, they can actually despawn, so they do not work like standard passive mobs such as a cow or something, where once they spawn in they'll never despawn. They actually work much more like fishes, so if you see one and you kind of go far away, then it can easily despawn. However, all you have to do to stop this is simply pick it up in a bucket, then place down the bucket again, and then that axolotl will never despawn. So if you're exploring through here and you find a large group of axolotls that you want to keep from despawning, simply pick them up in the water bucket and place them back down again, and that will make them persistent and they will never despawn because now the game kind of thinks it's an axolotl that is important to you, whereas ones that spawn in naturally will despawn rather quickly once you go out of the range of them. And of course the baby axolotls that you get from breeding them will never despawn. But axolotls are not just this adorable little mob you find in the lush caves, they're actually the cutest predator, because they will actually attack every single water mob in the game, except for turtles, baby turtles, dolphins, and frogs. You can see the axolotl here will bite the fishes, but if it gets hurt, it'll sometimes play dead like this one is right here. You can probably just pick it back up in the bucket like this. Now what's interesting is they'll even fight things like drowns. However, they will only fight one non-hostile mob every 2 minutes, and again if they are hurt they'll play dead, they'll give themselves some regeneration, and they'll try and fight the mob again. They do prioritize attacking hostile mobs over non-hostile, and they will try and kill them unless they're incredibly low health, just like it did here. Something really cool you can do is if you find a river with lots of fish in it and you kind of block off either side of the river, so you have a small section of river, and you fill that full of tons of axolotls, they'll go around the river killing the squids, the fishes that spawn there, as well as drowns, and you can skim that river to grab all the drops from the mobs that those axolotls have killed. The axolotls' fighting abilities to kill underwater mobs should certainly not be underestimated. If we spawn in a drowned here at the bottom of the ocean, you can see all the axolotls will start targeting it and make this big wave of axolotls, and they'll kind of form a big group. You'll notice all the axolotls team up to try and kill those drowned, but on top of that, when they get hurt, they'll give themselves regeneration combined. So basically, an axolotl will give every other axolotl 5 seconds of regeneration 1 per axolotl in the fight. Meaning that let's say you have a massive amount of axolotls, they can go all the way up to 2 minutes of regeneration 1 once a lot of them are hurt. Now this is capped at 2 minutes of regeneration 1, but this means that axolotls in groups are certainly more powerful than 1 or 2 axolotls, as they have this effect of combining the regeneration effect of each other. But axolotls can give you regeneration as well. If we have a mob that the axolotls are hitting, so a mob that they're kind of targeting, they know they don't like it, and then you help them kill the mob, so we're going to actually kill the mob for them, we have to do the final strike. Then after we've done that, we will get the healing power of friendship. This actually means, you can see right here, we have regeneration from those axolotls, so if you help the axolotls fight the dangerous mobs that they're trying to hit, then they will give you regeneration as well. This may seem like kind of a small little Easter egg of a feature of Minecraft, but it can actually be incredibly useful, and I will tell you why. If you're trying to defeat an ocean monument, axolotls have some incredibly useful abilities. Not only do they help you to not be killed by the guardians, but they have another ability, which is the fact that if you get mining fatigue just like that from the Elder Guardian, and you help them out, they can actually take away that mining fatigue from you. So if we help these axolotls kill this Elder Guardian right over here, then we can see that we got the regeneration effect, but as well as that, our mining fatigue is completely gone. Now of course it can always be given to us again by the Elder Guardian, but this is an incredibly useful effect if we have a large amount of buckets of axolotls with us, and we want to be able to raid the ocean monument more easily. So raiding the ocean monument with axolotls is a super nice thing, and it's one of their biggest uses is being a helper when you're dealing with things underwater. Now although you can just pick them up in a bucket, there is the ability to pick up an axolotl on a lead. So if you just right click on one of them with a lead, they do act incredibly glitched in Java Edition at least, but you can move them around. They tend to kind of want to move very fast circling around you, so definitely an odd mechanic there. But overall, you can do that. You can move them around this way if you prefer not using a bucket, and you can experience this rather odd axolotl movement yourself. It seems to me almost that they're moving at their in-water speed when out of the water when they're on a lead, and they go incredibly fast. But be careful when moving them around with a lead, because axolotls are amphibians, they do need the water, and so if they're outside of the water for 5 minutes, let me just detach it from this lead for a second here, it's going so fast. If they're outside of the water for 5 minutes, they will slowly die. So you want to be careful to get them back inside the water before they drown or I guess suffocate. So if you get them back inside the water there for even a little bit of time, then they'll be completely fine. They sometimes even by choice will go outside the water, so they certainly enjoy being outside the water here and there, but they do need to be able to go inside the water as well, at least every 5 minutes so that they do not dehydrate. And because of that, they're pretty smart, so they'll pathfind towards water. For whatever reason, axolotls do not pathfind towards water like this, that is 1 block deep. Instead, they pathfind towards water that is at least 2 blocks deep. So if you have an axolotl in the middle of the desert, it will try and pathfind to the nearest amount of water that it can find, that is at least 2 blocks deep, so that it does not die of dehydration. As one last interesting fact about the axolotl, there is an unused green, brownish, and pinkish texture for the axolotl. It was the original plans for what it would look like. It also had like this weird open mouth look at one point, but that was changed for the new textures of the pink and the brown axolotl, and the green axolotl ended up not being added to the game, as there's not many axolotls that are green in real life. Anyway, that's enough of crazy hyperactive axolotls outside the water. I will see you in the next video. Goodbye!